Let me ask you, was this the civil power trying to establish religion? Most certainly. He's trying to establish a religious observance by raising an image and saying to everybody, you need to worship this image. Was he overstepping his bounds? Yes, because he had the right to legislate when it came to civil matters, but he did not have a right to command people to worship in a certain way. Let me ask you, when he established this religious observance, what was the immediate result? The immediate result, folks, was persecution. As you read the book of Daniel, was Daniel a very good citizen of Babylon? Did he respect the king? Did he pray for the king? Did he obey the legitimate civil laws of Babylon? He most certainly did. But when the king overstepped his bounds and he legislated, he established a religious observance with his civil power, these three young men practiced civil disobedience. The story shows us that the time when we can practice civil disobedience is when the state oversteps its bounds and legislates the first table of God's law. It legislates worship. It establishes a worship observance. So let me ask you, in this story, do you find an illustration of the establishment clause of the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States? Yes, because the First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting the what? The establishment of religion. And the reason for that is because when the state or when the civil power establishes religion, the immediate result is what? Persecution. By the way, did God intervene to deliver those three young men? Yes, there was no hope to be delivered from the hands of the civil power who wanted to enforce this religious observance. There was no escape unless God directly intervened. And God, actually Jesus Christ, came into the furnace and he delivered the three young men who obeyed God rather than man. Now in Daniel chapter 6, we have another story that illustrates the second clause of the First Amendment to the Constitution. You see, we have the story of Daniel chapter 6. The second clause of the First Amendment says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the what? The free exercise thereof. In other words, the government cannot prohibit you from practicing your religion, and it cannot establish a religion and tell you that you have to follow that religion or you have to follow this practice in this certain way. Now, where in Daniel do we find an illustration of the free exercise part of the First Amendment to the Constitution? It's in the story that we find in Daniel chapter 6. Interesting that the first two clauses of the First Amendment to the Constitution are illustrated in the book of Daniel. You say, what story is that? You remember that King Darius, deceived by his advisors, gave a law or a decree that no one could pray to any god during a period of how long?